You guys let me know how this comes in. That's fine. Orientation is locked. I think YouTube has changed some of their features with this, but that's fine. So hopefully notifications go out. Wanted to show this to you guys real quick. I do have this Omni Terminator here. And I went in and I got another one. Actually, I purchased this one. I purchased the aluminum version. And with that, I do have some parts here. I'm just going to go over a couple of those things with it. So we will see. YouTube has changed some of their live features since the last time I've been live. And it's not showing me the chat, which is just saying just orientation is locked. So that's fine. So once you guys start coming on, let me know if this is pretty much clear and you can see me and it's visible and stuff with this. Okay, appreciate that, Addicted RC. I always count on you coming in and letting me know how good the quality is too. What's going on, John? Appreciate you guys joining in. It's been a minute, like I said, since I've been live. So I did at least want to go live with this. I'm going to probably drive this out as it is and then put all these modification parts and stuff on. There's been some stuff on in the RC car community. Maybe we can have a quick discussion about maybe some new stuff coming over. There's some rumors about some armor cars and all that. We can see it good. Okay, appreciate it. On point, Backyard RC. Appreciate. Okay, it's clear. That's good. Hopefully the audio isn't too bad either. I do have another laptop. I'm trying to get that set up so when I go live, I can show myself, show my screen, because I do want to start doing a couple of other things when I go live. I got some interviews pretty much lined up. They're just kind of waiting on me to get them onto the channel. But anyway, I wanted to go live with you guys as always, chat with you for a few minutes if you guys have time. Talk to you about this vehicle here. This is the Terminator. This is the aluminum version. I do have some parts here, so RLAARLO did send me some modification parts for it. New center diff gears and all this. So I'll talk about this and look at a couple of those things for it too. Audio's good too. Okay. What's going on, SFL? Appreciate you joining in. Well, Addicted RC, if you were closer to me, you probably could have got my carbon fiber one. But we'll talk about that at some other point. So FSL says this MK07 comes in Wednesday. Sweet. Yeah, that thing pretty much sold out. That's their 7-scale crawler that they just released. And I believe it was like $500, I think it was. And some people complain, people are always going to find something to complain about, but they complain that some of the YouTubers got some modification parts with it. And they didn't mention it in the video, so they bought it based off of some of the modifications for it. And they realized they had to go back in and buy those. So give or take, you know, I don't know whose fault that is for that, but yeah. And don't forget to hit that like button, y'all. So anyway, let me know how that vehicle turns out. I did speak with RLAARLO briefly on that. So we'll see if I will get the next run around of that vehicle when it comes in. Because that'd be cool to have a large-scale crawler. It's been a long time since I've had a crawler on my channel. And I was looking at doing a couple of things with it. I think the last crawler I had was... Sheesh, what was that company? That's how long ago it was. They made on-road cars too. That it's been a long time since I've had a crawl on the channel, so it'd been pretty cool to get one. So we'll see how that turns out. But anyway, I do have this aluminum version here. I wish I had the carbon fiber in front of me. It is different as far as especially the electronics. That motor's a lot smaller and stuff. But still at $199, you still get a pretty good, decent, small scale. I would say this is, of course, 11 scale vehicle. And I do believe, in my opinion, this is probably going to be one of the best smaller scale vehicles you can get. Because $200, you get a pretty solid built vehicle. I mean, this is the aluminum version. And I wanted to try it out and compare it to the carbon fiber version with it. And I've seen people doing upgrades on it. But I don't really plan on doing a lot of electronic upgrades. That's just going to increase the cost. But I do kind of want to run this. And you guys let me know if you don't want to see that run. I want to do it a little bit differently. I do want to run this one to see what breaks. Now, I know that on the carbon fiber one, the only thing I broke, especially taking it to the skate park and doing what I did, was going to be these screws that hold in these shocks. The one on the right broke, and the one on the left, I just went ahead and placed. I put a, I think it was an Arma screw in there. And that was the only thing besides the light in the front kind of breaking off and stuff with that. But that's very, very minor compared to the abuse I put it through. So we'll see how this one goes. So SFL says, I saw several tubers review removing the hop up. Still performed pretty well for what it was. Yeah, I think they've done a great job with this. I hope they start getting larger scale vehicles. Hopefully they can do that, at least get one out this year. If they can take this and make this at least a 9 scale, don't do 10 scale, but make it a 9 scale, they would have a winner. 8 scale would be even better, especially if they can do it just like this setup, but just kind of just supersize it. And then also do it to where you can have dual motors and stuff. Or if they do a dual motor monster truck, they would be the first ones, I think, to do that, besides the Losi, I think, Mini 18 one that they had for that, which would be good. But we're going to look through a couple of these parts here with this. And there's, of course, a link in the description where you guys can see some of that. So this is going to be a new or a different center differential for it. And this possibly has smaller teeth. I don't have all the information on this, but I don't know if it's just the aluminum casing or what. I didn't look at all the specs for it, but you guys know these come with 48 pitch gears on here, and it'd be nice if they start doing some, and I'm pretty sure they will, or someone may have found out how to put 32, maybe even mod 1 on here. Looking at the way this is constructed, it's got 4 screws on there, so I'm not sure how that's going to pan out with that, but we will see how this is and how they compare. I need to look up the part number, and I probably should have did that. Looking at that part number and then going on and comparing it to what's in here. Because like I said, these do have 48 pitch gears on it. A couple other things I got up in here. Upgraded components like drive shafts, dog bones, drive yokes, dog bones for the front and rear. For that, I got some updated or upgraded turnbuckles. You guys see this here. And comparing it to what's on there, it's going to be a pretty interesting. What I was looking at was these CVAs or CVDs, however people want to call it. This one has it in there, but I'm assuming that this one's going to be like titanium or something like that. So it doesn't really say on the package what it is with it. But it's good that they do make upgraded parts and they have them out for their vehicles already. They don't have to wait on a manufacturer to make them and to come out with it, because sometimes that could take a long time, especially if you're waiting for like RPM to make them. They went ahead and took the initiative to do it, like these A-arms right here. I believe these are going to be the upper ones. Upper updated servo horn there. This is going to be aluminum. Of course, on this one is plastic. And then here's going to be some more of these A-arms. Now, I haven't seen anyone break any of these A-arms or anything on here, but that's just going to make this vehicle stronger. There's going to be some updated steering components in here, too. So I know you guys have a couple of comments. Let me make sure I'm getting to these comments, too. So, All-Star Crew said, what's a good first RC car for a speed run car? I would say, well, that's going to open up a whole bunch of questions. So, I guess it's going to be, what is your budget? And do you want to start off with something ready to run or not? And also, have you driven RC cars before? Because that's going to depend on a lot of stuff. Now, I would say if you want to get something going, you can always buy an Armor Limitless version 2 and do some modifications. They're actually on sale right now, I believe, or they probably were on last month. But I would say if you're going to do that, I would get an Armor, one of the big three, the Felony, which the Felony is gonna be iffy with that one, only because of the tires and the differential is gonna be different in the back of that. But I would say either get a Limitless, or if you want something ready to run right out the box, I would say go with the Infraction, because with that you can always change the body out, and you don't have to worry about playing with the gearing because of the rear differential and it being a different size, because that's what the Felony has, is a different differential, and you got to get those larger tires for the back. And you can go 80 plus miles per hour out the box with that. With the Felony or Infraction, but the Infraction is going to handle a lot better than the Felony is with that. But if you want to build one up, you can do a Limitless. Now with the Limitless, you can go and put center diffs and stuff like that on at some point in time. But So hopefully that wasn't too much, but that is an overview. Now there's going to be other comments in there. And the reason why I said it's because of parts availability too. When you're doing speed runs, you're going to crash. You're going to hit something. You're going to crash when it's unexpected, and you're going to want to get parts for it. If you get one of the overseas over 7 scale vehicles, it's going to be hard to find parts for it. It's going to be hard to find modification parts for it too. I know Associated's got their 7 scale car they just released out, but there's no modification parts for it. It's probably hard to find parts for it. And there's a couple of them overseas, but it's all about part support for where the ARMA 7 scale vehicles, you have part support for all those. And then, of course, if you want to do a truggy, or speed buggy, I mean, there's a whole bunch of options out there. So it's going to depend on your budget and what you want to do. Okay, so FSL says this is the same gears that come in the carbon fiber, but it just adds the aluminum casing to it. Okay, well that makes sense then. That's decent with this. So same when I got my carbon fiber one, so we're fine with that. Yeah, if you can find it, Addicted RC says, an infraction or a vendetta. If you can find a vendetta, I think Arma's going to. Well, I don't think they are. I know they are. I'm not even. There's no information on it, but we know they're gonna come out with those vehicles with the center differentials in them. They're gonna probably do their whole 3S lineup, come out with center differentials in those, and they're also going to do that. I'm pretty sure they'll bring the vendetta back. And what was the other one? The vendetta. I can't. My mind's going blank. The other one, real quick. The infraction, the 3S infraction. So, so we'll see. That'll be interesting. So hopefully that answers your questions about that. I know we're talking about this, but you have that question. I want to make sure I answer it. And then there's going to be some paddle tires in here too. And I can set this box to the side. So here's going to be some paddle tires for this. And what I may do, and you guys let me know in the comments or not, I'm thinking about taking this out and running it just like it is so you guys can see it run. There's an area not too far from me. It's got a little sand and stuff. And then going ahead and putting these paddle tires on and then running it with these. It's been a long time since I've actually put paddle tires on the vehicle and ran it and just saw sand throwing up all over the place. So that'll be pretty interesting with this. And it'll be also interesting if I probably don't want to do it across the pond, but if I can find a body of water to run this across that body of water. And then I plan on probably updating this. I may just update the gearing on that. I got to look at a couple of videos of people that had the aluminum one. I know it's not that fast out the box, but I may just do a whole video on the aluminum version because it is $50 cheaper. Maybe do a speed test and then run it with this battery. And I know a larger size batteries can fit in these, but sometimes when you put the larger ones in it, you have to make sure it's really strapped down. Of course, the ESC goes up here, and the longer batteries will fit in there, but we'll see. I'll let you guys, if enough people comment, see what you guys want to do for that. So, yeah, so you can go with the infraction 3S. Now, with the infraction 3S, you're going to be limited with the speed with it. I mean, I don't think I've seen anybody get above the 120s, I think, with that infraction 3S. So think about that. Once you max it out, you're maxed out. Whereas with the 7 scale vehicles, they are taking that to a higher level, 200 plus miles per hour. Now, it's a lot of money they're putting into it, but it's also the fun of doing that as well. And I'm going to try to mentally get my mind back into doing speed runs. The weather's been nice the last couple of months, and I've been in la la land thinking about stuff, but I'm going to start getting back into doing super speed Saturdays, etc., blah, 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 because you guys want to see that. I'm actually curious of, and I probably shouldn't, running 6S on this. That'll be crazy backflip, but if I lower it down and do a couple things with it and gear it right, you can probably do 6S on it. 4S is crazy enough, but 6S would be crazy with this. Well, Addicted RC, hopefully that link won't get disabled. Put that link to your hobby shop because a lot of people don't have parts for the Vendetta. They did go on sale and then they recall and all that. So I think if Arma had that Vendetta at a cheaper price and maybe even changed maybe the body on it, I think it would have sold a lot better. Or if Proline had come out with those extra bodies for it, I think it would have sold a lot better. I think it kind of hit, and it was kind of a hit or miss. People wasn't 100% sure at the price of it, but then it kind of went down in price and then it went on sale. So to me, these companies should should kind of do what RLAARLO's doing. When they announce this stuff now, they're getting better with their customer support, of course, and their orders. It's just they're getting overwhelmed, and they should anticipate this. Every vehicle they've released has sold out. It's been back ordered. But if they can come out with a cheap price or a pre-ordered price, if you pre-ordered, you get it at this amount, and then afterwards you pay more. I think they would anticipate more of what they're going to do for sales. But yeah, it would be crazy on 6S. I don't know if I'll do that, but we'll see. I need to get a Castle ESC in here and stuff, but I kind of want to run it as it is too because I do like the smaller scale vehicles. I've been kind of getting into them a little bit more because it's easier just take those out and run these little batteries in it. So this is already charged up and stuff. So I'll probably just maybe take this out for a run over to the skate park, get it running, take it off road or something, have some fun with it, and then start doing these upgrades on it. Or maybe do these upgrades on the carbon fiber one. I don't know yet. I'll put some on here and some on the carbon fiber, so we'll figure that out as time progresses on. So, Ralph says, are there any good off-road RC tracks in Georgia? There used to be a few in Metro Atlanta, but can't. Loganville, they are in racing season. So look up Loganville Racing Complex it is. And I think if they have a race this weekend, I'm gonna go up there. But Loganville does races and you can find them more or less on Facebook. If you don't have Facebook, I think you can still view their page. But I'll try to go up there, talk about the track, and do a walk around. I'll try to do it actually this weekend coming up because I do got some free time. Hopefully they're doing races. And I'll ask, there's a guy named Hunter at the local hobby shop. Go to Hobbytown in Beaufort, Georgia and ask for Hunter. He works there, but he's also a local racer. And then they have Wicked Weekend coming up August. I think it's actually the end of July. So Wicked Weekend is coming up towards the end of July. So think about that too. But I'm going to start updating my Facebook page. If you don't follow me there. I'll start updating that with track events and local events that are going on, and then even national events that are going on. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to start trying to reach out to more people that are doing events and manufacturers and say, hey, if you got something, post it on there because I can't keep up and post everything there, but it'll help you guys keep up to date with that. So yeah, Loganville is where you want to go. They've got a nice track there. And look it up on Facebook. You'll see. They probably have their race schedule on there, and they have some live videos there. I think they work on the track and practice is somewhat Friday night, and then Saturday you come in. Of course, you can practice on Saturday, and then you can get ready to race. I just don't have time to allocate to race because racing is your whole day, and I would love to get my TLR up there, my Typhon up there, and just run on the track stock out the box, which I need to try to do. You don't run, of course, you don't race on 6S, but it'd be cool to get that up there. Or get that in a racer's hands and stock out the box and let him know his thoughts on running that vehicle. So, all right, SFL, I appreciate you joining. Let me know about that crawler you get in, and we'll go from there. So. Yeah, good forest system's good for this. And I also found some very cheap batteries. So I'm going to start updating you guys on some cheap batteries that I'm finding out there. I'll probably do in the community page where you guys can see that. But there's some pretty good cheap batteries out there. I think I'm going to start showing to you guys and testing them too. So we'll see how that rolls out with some of those cheaper lipos and stuff too. Matter of fact, I got one set in. There's another couple of sets out there too. But I'm going to try it. I'm probably going to do it in my Mojave 4S. So, but that's basically kind of it for this. It's not going to be a long go live. I wanted to make sure that I go live. I haven't been live in forever and a day. And then two, show this to you guys. Alaro did send me these parts, but I did buy this. So, it's a give or take with that. With this going on right here. Some of these will probably go on the carbon fiber version. I got to figure out what I'm going to put on the carbon fiber and what I'm going to put on here because this one's actually built pretty good too. I think the A-arms will probably go on here. Maybe that center differential since that is plastic. And I'll sort through it because this is over a couple of dollars in parts and stuff that you see. Oh, it doesn't seem like it, but it actually is. And these are going to look pretty cool on there. Add a little weight to it, which would be good when I start getting ready to go 4S with it. But so other than that, do y'all have anything basic to talk about? I know that there were some possible leaks of cars that are possibly coming out, and I'm going to say possible one more time so we can possibly guess on that. But If not, and there's no other questions, or if y'all don't want to just do some general chatting, I don't want to make this a 2 or 3 hour go live just to go live for that long, because that's just showing this here. If I was going live showing my other vehicles, it'd be a whole different story. But there's about 23 of you guys on here. 16 likes. If y'all can, smash that like button for me. We went from 23 down to 19 that quick. So Ralph's got a good question. What's a good buggy to get to start with? It's gonna depend on your budget, but I would say right now it's going to be one of two things. So if you want to just start off with something, and I did a RC update a couple of days, about a week ago or so. You can do the 3S Typhon. I think that's about $269 right now. And you can run 2 and 3S lipo on there, and you're going to get about 50 miles. You got about 45, I think, on 3S. But you can upgrade that ESC to a 4S ESC and still run it with that stock motor and stock gearing and get about 55. And it runs real good like that, because I did that myself. If you want to go somewhat more of an 8 scale, because that is an 8 scale buggy, but you are kind of limited with it. I can't wait till they put a center diff in there. The next step from that is going to be the Team Corrali Synchro 4. That is $369, and that is a full-blown 8 scale buggy. And I just actually fixed my center diff, so you guys will see some videos coming this week on that. So, if you're gonna race, I wouldn't get that 3S Typhon. I mean, you probably might be okay, but you're gonna get slapped around that track if you hit another 8 scale buggy. Because that's what happened to me. It doesn't have the weight you need for it, but if you go 4S, it'll actually add the weight to it, which may be pretty good for it. Mine's is somewhere, I don't know where it is, but I may have to get another one just to show you guys and talk to you guys about that, and maybe take that to the track, because I do have the Chrome Typhon. I got the TLR one, so. Addicted RC says he got the SCX6 last week. Oh shoot, that's why he is addicted to RC, y'all. I think every week or every other week you're kind of getting something new, right? So if you're looking at 10 scale, and I'm assuming, I think you said something about racing, Ralph. There is other things out there you can race with. Of course, Team Associated, Losi. And then if you go to A Main, they have all the cars out there. I don't know if Serpent or X-Ray of them make 10 scale. I think they focus more on 8 scale vehicles. So, but if you got your mind set on Team Associated, go with it. There's nothing wrong with that. Team Associated makes some great vehicles. They're still in the game, and they still compete out there a lot too. I mean, especially in the 10 scale range, especially with the 2-wheel drive buggies and the 4-wheel drives. They're a little bit expensive, but they are high quality vehicles too. So I remember the RC10 when it first came out. That was so cool, that gold pan chassis and stuff for it. And it was the car to kind of get, because of it just looked cool back in the day. Yeah, that Synchro 4 is something, especially when you put that 15-tooth pinion gear in it. I ran it today because I got my differential upgraded on, and it ran good. So, yeah, I've just needed to woosah my mind a little bit from shooting RC car videos and running 2 YouTube channels. It's a lot, plus everything else I do on a daily basis can kind of sometimes take a lot out of you. So I had to kind of subside back, because the RC cars does take a lot more to do than anything else. As far as video wise, because you gotta get the vehicle, unbox it, film it, edit it. Something breaks, you gotta fix it, charge batteries, blah blah blah. So it's a lot kind of going back and forth with that. So, yep, Losi jumped in, Kyosho was there, and I'm gonna do something probably in the next couple of weeks. I'm gonna do RC reviews, kind of from my viewpoint, or from what I knew when I was growing up, so which actually will be pretty interesting. So you guys stay tuned for that. I'm going to do all the companies, even with Traxxas, because Traxxas had the Traxxas Cat out at that time, and it was the first ready-to-run hobby-grade vehicle. And that was pretty interesting because I never got the cat because I always thought it was trying to compete with the Nico Rhino and the Thunderbolt and all that. But towards the late 80s, early 90s, I think it was 90s, they went ahead and they updated their stuff. And then they started coming out with the Traxxas Hawk, the Eradicator, and all that. And they were competing with other companies. And I think that's when everything kind of took off for them because they offered ready to run vehicles. Everybody else was kits. Everybody else, you had to put your stuff together. And that was kind of a hassle in a way, especially if you're a kid. You know, you had to, it kind of built, I guess, relationship with your dad. But it also, some people didn't have dads and moms and all that stuff or parents to help them out. So they had to kind of do it on their own, which give or take could be good or bad. But Traxxas was the ones to do the ready to run stuff. And then Kyosho picked up on it with it. And then Tamiya did maybe one or two things that their stuff was still, even today, it's still just kids. But that's kind of what I think what helped build Traxxas was having those type of vehicles. And then they tried to get into the race thing with the Traxxas Blue Eagle LS, which were basically stadium trucks, which I had one. I think I've had just about every Traxxas car they released except for a couple. They had that big gas scale and a couple others. But I think I've owned just about every Traxxas car that's been released except for some of the newer stuff with the crawlers and stuff. So interesting history there with all that. And then Kyosho, I wish Kyosho would redo like the Kyosho Big Brute, the Big Boss, and all that. I think I talked about that in the RC update. But it'd be pretty cool if they did that too. So yeah, that Traxxas cat is definitely old school. And there's a lot that was out there. I don't know if you guys remember the Big Bear from what was that, Marui? I always say Marui. So there was the Big Bear, and then people were taking because at that time the Blackfoot and the Monster Beetle, especially the Blackfoot, was the car to get. If you just wanted to get something to kind of bash around what you consider bashing at that time, you get a Blackfoot and you modify. You put a Thorpe diff on it, you do some upgrades and all that, and you'd be good to go. And then they started flipping them, so then they started doubling up on the tires on it. Then the Murray Big Bear was out there, and they started putting those tires on with the adapters and stuff. So there was a lot going on. I think it was, to me, the golden age of RC. Right now is not really the golden age. I think it was then because that was a huge transition from mechanical speed controllers over to some of the first electronic speed controllers. And Traxxas was one of the first companies, if I recall, to put an electronic speed controller in a ready-to-run vehicle. It was their XL1. Big old thing, too. I mean, it was probably from here to here on their vehicles. But it was functional for that time. We were happy to have it because the first ones I saw was the Novak speed controller. It was in a Shoemaker Cat, and one of my friends had used to come over, and it just ran so smooth. So no more mechanical speed controllers. The whole transition from that, they were still using. They went from NiCad to nickel metal batteries, and lipos came over the last, I think, 20 years or so. So we didn't have lipos back then, but so huge transition. I mean, it was a golden era because there was a big change in RC car vehicles, and I think Associated brought that change on. Even though they didn't win the IFMAR World Championship of, I think it was 86, 87, the Kyosho Ultima won that championship. And it was funny because my brother had an Ultima, but it wasn't the Ultima Joe Johnson used to win. It had his Ultima, Joe Johnson Ultima had like 48 pitch gears. The Kid Ultima had 32 pitch gears, but it was still fast. And it was cool for what it was. But there was a whole transition for that. And Kyosho was trying to get into the race market with a lot of their vehicles, even before their Inferno series. Because I don't think that came out until the late 80s. And they had an 8-scale gas buggy. So it's like I said, it's a whole history that I have in my mind about that I probably need to do some videos on. So yes, Skyhawk, welcome aboard. This is the Omni Terminator. This is the aluminum version. So I have the carbon fiber version. This is the aluminum version. We were going over just a couple of upgrades that RLAARLO has sent over to me with that. So that's fine with this. And this is, of course, mine right here. So I'll be putting a couple of those on here. I'm probably more or less going to do the center diff. Someone did update me and tell me that the center diff is the same as the one that's in the carbon fiber version, which I have that one. But this is aluminum casing on it. So I think the gearing may be a little different. So I'll have to do some research on that. If you guys are just now joining and we're just chatting, I just went over a couple things with this. Got some paddle tires and stuff too. But we were just basically talking about some of the history of RC cars, and from my point of view, because I've been in this thing for a long, 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 long time. So we were just going through that. So I'm scrolling through the comments. So Ben says, thoughts on the Armor 1A scale TR Typhon 6S. This was the one with the blue body. I got mine. I got one. It actually runs good. It is a basher and racer. And some people were debating that I said it was better than the Losi one that just came out, because the Losi one's censored and it's 4S. And you can bash it, but you can't bash it, if that makes sense. I mean, you could take it to a track and run it, and it's gonna be fast, but you can't run 6S on it. You can't do different things with it. So it still is, if you're gonna get one, I would say get that, because if you're not gonna race all the time, you have something you can bash with. And it does perform well, and it has a lot of tunability to it as well. So there's a couple of videos on my channel. I got a lot of videos. I realize I have over 4,000. I got over almost 5,000 videos on my channel. So it's kind of crazy. I think I have the most RC car videos out there than any other RC channel, which is ridiculously crazy. Maybe that's why I got burned out. So Ralph says, Futaba and Novak were the leaders of speed controllers back then. They sure in the heck were. And then they faded away. They just couldn't keep up with the curve. So Jonathan says, back when you had to run your batteries until completely dead, opposite of today. Yep, that is true. And you charge them till they were warm, not till the charger stopped at 15 minutes. So what's going on, Prince? Appreciate you joining in. Now, Ralph, you want to run those until the LVC cuts on, low voltage, until that cuts on, and then you want to stop and charge the batteries. That's at about, depends on what the speed controller said. You really don't want to go below 3.5, 3.6. Some people have it set to 3.2. That's pretty low, but yeah, back in the day, Nacaz and nickel metals, you run them until they would die. Now, they did, with the 8.4, have a little bit more power than a 7.4 volt. But as soon as you start running it, you start losing power. With lipos, you kind of keep that power throughout the whole duration of the run. You may see a couple mile per hour drop, but that's about it. So Skyhawk says, my center diff wobble is brand new on the Omni, and wheels wobble bad on all of them. That's crazy. You say on your center shaft, so I'm assuming you have the aluminum version, so that wobbles. You may want to check the bearings in there. I couldn't tell you too much without seeing it, but you may want to check to make sure you didn't get bad bearings. If you did, contact RLAARLO. I know some people have complained about their support. I think they've just been boggled down, but I think if you email them a couple times and find them on Instagram or Facebook, you'll be able to get a hold of them. But check those bearings. So Prince says this first one was the Grasshopper. I remember that. I wanted a Hornet so bad because of Punky Brewster and all that. Do you guys remember the Punky Brewster show where they had those RC cars on there? Well, Skyhawk, you can do that then too. I mean, if it's giving you problems, I'm not gonna tell you not to. Don't return. No, return it back to Amazon and see if you can get another one. This one I haven't run yet. I'm gonna run it tomorrow. I'm probably just gonna run it stock. I'm probably ain't gonna do an unboxing. I'm just gonna say, here it is, the aluminum version. Let's run it stock. Let's see how fast it is. I think I still gotta put the stickers on here. And I just want to run it. I just want to run it. You guys know I run a lot of my cars stock. I don't do too many modifications. I need to, but I pretty much run them stock. And I'll probably just run this stock. I don't think anything's wrong with this one, but you may have a bad bearing if that's wobbling. And then your tires and wheels, I don't know what to say on that. If you got the aluminum version, I'll have to see. I don't know what to say on that, but maybe return and get another one. Well, Ralph, they were making speed controls, is what we're saying. They were the leaders in doing speed controllers. Novak was first because it was brushed motors with electronic speed controllers. And they were mechanical, meaning that the speed controllers back in the day actually had a servo and basically a mechanical speed controller. It was like a kind of a resistor thing, and it would somewhat have 3 speeds. So my finger would represent how it would kind of rub across the surface of kind of the resistor. And it's a whole technical thing behind it. I probably can't explain it the best way. I'll probably do a video on it to show it to you guys. But I'll do the history of RC cars and the transition from maybe the 80s to the 90s to today. I'll do that at some point in time, unless somebody tries to steal my idea that's watching. But They were the leaders. I mean, Futaba had a couple of them out there because I put one in my Traxxas Hawk that I had, one of the Futaba ones. But the Novaks were the way to go because they were people were out there racing and stuff. And then something happened when their brushless motors came out. I think they couldn't keep up with it or spend the money on it, and Castle kind of took over and pretty much a done deal from there. Castle and Hobby Wing and stuff. So, what's going on, Sleek Hobbies? Appreciate you joining in. Make sure if you guys are on, you smash the like button. I appreciate that. I'm just trying to get through a couple of these comments. We're talking about the Omni Terminator. This is the aluminum version with a couple of hop-up parts. I'm going to run this stock out the box to see if we get stock and then take it off-road and run it and stuff. So, yeah, most of these vehicles you run them stock, they are fine. I mean, you start going, putting a lot, to me, they're making cars great nowadays. They really are. They're making them so that you don't have to do a lot to them to get the best out of it. I mean, my Big Rock 6S is still stock. I still have the stock pinion gear. And I ran it with the speed gear, but I went back to the stock gear. I think the stock gear is 12, and I might have put a 13 in it. So I may have a 13 in it, but the Big Rock is good. I mean, I love the Big Rock. I think the 6S Big Rock, the new one, that's one of the best ones I think Armor has besides the Fire Team. And their Fire Team is good out the box too, so. You may be right, Rob. Futaba may have been first, and Novak came in and pushed them out, and then I think Hobby Wing and Castle just pushed them all out. So, yeah, it was a whole thing. And Traxxas had their stuff. They had the XL1. I think that, and I'm mentioning Traxxas a lot. I love their innovation and what they do with their vehicles. Business model could be talked about completely different. But they were the first ones to do, I think, some of the at least water resistant electronic speed controllers within some water resistant cars, because people run their cars, and you got a Novak or Futaba wet back in the day, it was a done deal. You pretty much had to spend another 60, 70 bucks to get them. I have some old car action magazines. I'll probably, when I go live, or show that to you guys. It's always good to look at some things from the past and what was in the past and kind of what's done now. I think Tamaya caught on to electronic speed controllers in the early 2000s, maybe late. I think it was early 2000s. I really think it was. So they still need to do other stuff. I think Tamaya needs to step their game up. Their stuff is very expensive, but I think they need to step their game up and get some other stuff out there for people. But that's just my opinion. They need to start doing more of the assembled kits and selling them like that. And they need to come out with some, either bring some stuff back. Like, I'm still waiting on the Mud Blaster release. They got the Avanti out there. I think they're going to re-release it, or maybe on pre-order, which I've always wanted one of those. But that's like 500, 600 bucks for a 10th scale buggy. A 10th scale four-wheel drive buggy. So I appreciate that, Addicted. Appreciate that, Skyhawk. Trying to keep this channel going. So Victor says he put his 8S Crate and EXB out there, had a great bashing day. Yeah, if you can email me, Addicted RC, I'll give you some information on some 4S lipos that are cheap, and they're good too. I'll try to do a video on that soon. I'm trying to test them, but so far so good. But I know some cheap 4S lipos that are out there. They're cheap, bro. They're cheap. Trust me. Cheap meaning under 30 bucks for one 4S. And they've been good. And I just found some ones that got higher milliamps. So Brandon says, so you have to put a bigger pinion to make it go 50. I'm assuming you're talking about for this vehicle, Brandon. If so, probably so. I don't know what comes in here stock out the box. I may look at that and put the bigger pinion gear in it. So we'll see. Sleek Hobby says he loves his Big Rock. Yep. Big Rock is good. It's really, really good. So yeah, take your time with it. It may be good to subscribe to some magazines and stuff too. That's how I got a lot of education, reading a lot of magazines and then having the cars and running them. But just take your time. I mean, the basis of it is knowing the vehicle, KV motors, lipos, 2, 3S. C ratings are always overrated. And I'm not just talking about like this right here. I'm just talking about in general. Like, I think Max Amps has been talking about 150C lipos for over 10 years. they should be at 300C lipos. And there's no lipos that's really that high in C rating. There's a whole thing behind that, but some things are overrated. But if some companies don't say they got 190C lipo, people won't buy them. So it's the whole thing with that. But it's the whole stuff with lipos, speed controllers, and all that. So I appreciate that donation there, Prince. Every dollar helps. I don't know which 6S you had there, Skyhawk. Um, so far, mine's have been good. The Big Rock, I don't know if you guys saw those videos I did on it, man. I put that thing through hell and back, and it survived. I mean, there was no problems with it. I just, well, at the time I ran, I mean, it got submerged in water. And I may just do a revisit on the Big Rock so you guys can see those videos. I put a lot of time in those videos. And I was like, man, what the? I need 50, 30,000 views on these. So I may just do a revisit on that. So some of them, but you can tell when you buy. So basically, Skyhawk was talking about some of the lipos you can buy from Amazon. The way you can really tell a good lipo from a cheap lipo is gonna be the weight of it. This lipo that comes with this vehicle, this is at $199, $10 for shipping, $210. This is a heavy lipo, and I've seen lipos that were like this that were really light. So you have to look at some of the Amazon reviews too on it, and you can determine that. But you can also determine from the weight of it, because sometimes you'll get a 4S lipo and it'll be light as a feather, and it's because of the compound they make the lipo with. And those are cheap lipos; they're not going to last long. And it also depends on how you take care of your lipos too. You have to keep them. You have to take care of them. You have to act like it's a perishable food. You know, you open something up, you got to put it in the refrigerator. You can't leave it out on the counter. Same thing with lipos. You want to take care of them. You want to watch temperatures on them. The weather's hotter outside, so you want to re-gear your car so the vehicle doesn't take more from the lipo when it starts to puff and stuff. You want to watch kind of when you're bashing too. A lot of times when you buy lipos, especially like some, I guess the cheaper brand lipos, they come with pieces of foam in it. What I do is I put those pieces of foam around my lipo when it's inside my vehicle to protect the lipo when I'm bashing, especially when it's a soft case one. But even a hard case one, especially if you're jumping off road when you're hitting and stuff, those lipos can get damaged. But at least if you take those pieces of foam and at least surround the lipo with it just a little bit, it helps protect it and give it a little bit more cushioning. So take caution, because batteries are really important too. So think about that when you're purchasing lipos. So yeah, lipos, what we're talking about, these batteries right here. Basically you want to run a lipo. Was it lithium ion battery or whatever in your vehicle? But this is a lipo battery. And there's a lot of channels that have went in depth with lipo batteries, talking about the difference between 2S, 3S. This is, of course, a 3S lipo, 11.1 volts. 2S is 7.2 or 7.4 volts. Then you got 4S, 6S, 8S, and then people running 12 and etc. in their vehicles that are using more lipo. So I will try to get Danny from SMC on my channel. We have been discussing it before, for him to do a live chat on his batteries. So I'll see if I can get him on really soon. I need to update my computer so that I can get him on and we can talk, or maybe I'll just record and just have his photo or something like that up. But he has been wanting to talk to you guys about lipos and his lipos, not to just say he's got some of the best out there, but he's in the top SMC or in the top 3 lipos. I mean, you got SMC, you got Gens Ace, and then you got like HCLs, a couple other cheaper brands that are on Amazon out there. But so going through a couple more of these comments. Parents, I don't know if you're talking to me about the 7-scale Big Rock, but if you are, yes, the 7-scale Big Rock, I love it. And I drive it. I need to start filming more. I've just been kind of enjoying my stuff, so. Yeah, that's the other one, Skyhawk. CNHL brand is good too. Yeah, and JayTee RC, any car is going to break, as he's mentioned here. I mean, these are still toys, and everything is still breakable, so anything can still break, so. So yeah, I wasn't planning on staying on this long. I'll stay on for probably another couple of minutes. I do have several things I have to do. It's about 11:30 here right now. So I think real quick we'll get into this while we're on here. I think the next companies to release something is probably going to be Arma. Um, they did the Typhon. What was that? Several weeks ago, and we had Armageddon about 2 weeks ago. But their guy was down here that films Stu, that films videos. So in my opinion, Stu lives in another country. He's probably here filming something that's gonna come up, and that's my speculation. That's my guess, is that Arma's gonna release some stuff. I did see some posts out there about some stuff they could possibly release, but we don't know. But I think that they're gonna come out with some new stuff, and that's why he's here maybe to film some videos on it and do some testing and stuff. So I think Arma's gonna come out with something. RLAARLO just released their 7th-scale crawler, or I'm sorry, 5th-scale crawler. The associated on-road car is out. I wish I had maybe put up a computer screen and show this to you guys, but the associated car is out. And what else? There's probably a couple other minor things here, and I saw some updates out there on stuff, but I think the next big release coming up maybe by this month is going to be Arma's. They do have Horizon Fest. I think it's next weekend. And I would go, but I just came back from Armageddon, and Horizon Fest is in Illinois, and that is a 12-hour drive or hour or two flight. But if I fly, I really can't take nothing, you know. So, and that's a lot to go down there and do all that. So I would love to go, but yeah, that's about $1,000 trip right there. All right, bro. I appreciate you joining. I'm about to join you not too long from now. So Prince says, do you store your lipos? The truth be told, Prince, I normally don't. I keep my lipos in a cool area, dry area. Lipos have gotten better over the years. Now you should do it. Don't say that JT said don't do it, he don't do it, but you should do it. You should keep them in an area for it, just in case. But I usually keep mine. I usually keep them probably well balanced, and when they start charging to not a good balance, I usually get rid of them. They start puffing, I usually get rid of them. If I see a little bit of puff, I normally just give them away to friends because there's no use in me keeping them, but they'll take them from me. I mean, anybody would take a free lipo. Like if this lipo starts to puff after several runs, I'll get rid of it and get another one. So yeah, you just got to keep an eye on them. So the C8 is the bomb. I need to do a video on it. I got a couple companies contacting me about doing videos on components. I'm like, send them. I'm going to do the videos on it. You send me free stuff for my C8? Definitely. I love my C8 better than my C7. I talked to a guy yesterday. I always go to Zaxby's, and I know the manager up there, and he says he likes my C7 better. I said, that's good. It's out there. You can buy one. But the C8, especially the 2024, I got a 24 C8. They actually got it right. It has, even in the base model, the 1LT model, whatever, it has the rear view camera that's already embedded into the rear view mirror. And it's got a couple of safety features, like it's got the gap on there too. So if you get a 2024, I just say get the 1LT model. You don't have to go with the 2LT or 3LT. Unless you just want like heated seats, and I didn't care about that front lift for it. But I love my C8. I really do. And it's broken in. I've got over 4,000 miles and I've had it 6 months. And when I first got it, I was like, man, this car is quiet. My C7 was louder. But no, this C8, once it broke in, it's good now. We good to go. So I'll do a video on that. I just have to think about what I'm going to do and how I'm going to film it. And I also got a Chevy Trax, the 24 Chevy Trax. So loving that. Loving going out, taking that out there too. So I love the way that Trax looks. Yeah, I'll get it all in there. So, well, y'all, I got to get off of here. I got some stuff I still have to do, and I still got to eat. Got one more thing on here. Prince says the Horizon warehouse is in Champaign Hill. Yep. My cousin works there, and he gets an employee discount. He's my favorite cousin. Hey, he be my favorite cousin, too. Get them discounts. So I appreciate you guys joining as always. I appreciate you subscribing to my channel. I appreciate everything you guys do, the comments, the shares, the likes, the donations, just recommending people and giving me because advice on stuff. Sometimes I'll run stuff and I look at all the comments. I may not heart them all or like them all, but I actually look at all the comments people put on my videos because I'm constantly trying to be aware of what people are saying, what's good and what's bad. So I always appreciate you guys for it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. And probably next time you see me, I'll have my laptop and stuff. And I want to show some screens and all that. And we could talk about a couple of things. But anyway, I appreciate you guys. Y'all have a good night. And I will see you this week in the videos.